Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
And what is up, you guys? A very pleasant evening for the New York Mets as they come out and they do exactly what they are supposed to do against a Washington Nationals team that is in last place, that is just not very good. With David Peterson on the mound leading the way for this team, the Mets bats come out. They show out. They have a 5-run third inning there, capped by a 2-run shot from Mark Vientos. Brett Beatty added a home run, Juan Soto, and then eventually Jeff McNeil as well, as they have a lapper of a win over Washington tonight in the series opener to extend their winning streak to 3. And the Mets offense all of a sudden looking like it's finally hitting its stride, and maybe not any better of a time than for them to be doing it right now, based on what we saw in the final 2 games of the series against the Mariners, where they captured the series victory, and then the way they opened out here tonight against the Nationals. Very, very solid night for the Mets all around. Great performance from David Peterson. Obviously gets through 8 innings there, gives up just 1 run, double-digit strikeouts for the first time this season. Once again, going past the 7th inning. That's now the 6th time this year that Peterson has done it. Only 2 other times has a guy not named David Peterson went past the 6th inning. That Kodai Senga and Clay Holmes. Meanwhile, DP done it now 6 times this year. He has been their length guy, their absolute bulldog on the mound. And again, a really nice, refreshing victory coming against a last place Nationals team. What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. Welcome to the stream. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game, or just about. I know I missed Saturday and Sunday. They were travel days for me. A little difficult. United Airlines does not have my vote of confidence. That's all I'm going to say about that matter. But we are back here tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to leave this video a like if you haven't done so already. Go ahead, do that right now. You can also follow me on all my other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. X, whatever they call it. Links to all those are in the description of this video below. I'm not going to be doing Discord phone calls tonight, unfortunately. As you can see, we are in a different setup than my typical studio, so it's not going to happen tonight. Maybe I'll be able to get it this week while I am out of town and away from the main studio, but we typically do that. Appreciate you guys calling in as much as you did last week. Let's hit the chat. Ray says, Tony, long time, bro. Ray, what is up, my man? How you doing? Appreciate you tuning in. It has been a while since I've seen your face around here, but glad to have you here. Armand, holy shit, a team victory. That is such a perfect way to put it, Armand. It's a team victory where we weren't holding our breath the entire time, whether it was because we were fearful that the lineup wouldn't get a hit with runners in scoring position, or a starter wouldn't go past the 5th inning, or the bullpen was in a massive jam that they weren't going to get out of. This was a all-around complete team victory. 100% well said by you, Armand. Ray says, Baby Mets and Peterson, really good day for the Baby Mets on a day that started with some not so great news for the Baby Mets. Of course, that being that Francisco Alvarez was placed on the injured list. They do expect him to require surgery, but they also said that they are going to reevaluate him in about 10 to 15 days to see if he might be able to play through it. Doesn't sound good to me. Sounds to me like Francisco Alvarez is going to get that surgery and probably is going to miss the remainder of the season, which is so frustrating considering how well he has been hitting the ball since returning from the minors. So huge blow, and unfortunately it's starting to become the norm for Francisco Alvarez being an injury-prone kind of guy. But let's stick to the positives here tonight. Beatty with the homer, Vientos with a mammoth 2-run homer. Really solid day for those young guys. Nice play by Beatty at third base as well. Jimmy James C. Howdy, Tony. What's up, Jimmy James? How you doing, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Hope everything's going well for you. Armand says, what a web gem by Stanek. Hey, I did not know you had that kind of game, Stanek, going with the barehanded play on the mound. You never want to see a pitcher do it with their bare hand, but when they do, it is so sick. But you obviously get fearful. Hopefully, there's no injuries, but Stanek appears to be okay. Nice easy inning for him, gives up the base hit, but no problems there as he's able to put the finishing touches on what was a great day from David Peterson to start on the mound for this team. Ray says it was relaxing. Go figure, LOL. That is such a great way to put it there, Ray. I mean, a relaxing Mets game. They get out to that 5-0 lead in the third inning, and you're like, wow, I can hopefully breathe a little bit here. Really? Is this really? I've not been able to breathe through a Mets game, it seems, since the middle of May, and even then I was kind of struggling. So that's exactly how I would put it. They continue to add on runs. They get the solo shots from Beatty and from Soto, and then eventually McNeil. And obviously Peterson cruises the way that he did. Relaxing is a very way to put this game. Back to the chat here. Ray says, Tony, since I haven't seen you in a minute, but but McLean, yes, McLean with a really impressive debut. Opposing scouts were impressed just as much as we as Mets fans were, and of course as the Mets players and teammates themselves were about Nolan McLean. Really promising start, and hey, even more good news from some young arms. Brandon Sproat with an impressive pitching performance today for AAA Syracuse. 6 innings, gives up just 1 run on 2 hits while striking out 8. He actually struck out the first 6 outs that he recorded in tonight's game for AAA Syracuse, and now over the last 9 starts has a 2.05 earned run average with 57 strikeouts. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but I will be posting a video about this tomorrow, both here and on Empire Sports Media's page, which is called Fireside Mets. If you guys haven't checked that out, be sure to do that and follow them. I post on there just like I post here. We're doing a collab now, so that's really exciting to officially announce here. But the Mets are going to need a pitcher during this stretch coming up. They just began a stretch of 16 games where they will not have an off day, and they're going to need an extra starting pitcher at some point during this little streak. So it seems to me, with Paul Blackburn recently DFA'd, that start is going to go to Brandon Sproat. Now, I'm not saying that is officially going to be the case, because obviously we still know Frankie Montas is hanging in there by a thread in this bullpen. Very realistic possibility they end up just going with Frankie Montas for that spot start that they'll need. But it all kind of seems like the stars are aligning. He's pitching tremendously for AAA. The Mets are going to need another starter, and maybe they don't want to disturb things with Montas, and hopefully he can get acclimated to being a relief pitcher. So I would not be surprised to see Brandon Sproat come up here in the next 2 weeks for that spot start. And if he pitches well, he may just cement himself in this rotation for the remainder of the season. But sorry to get off topic. Let me go back over to the chat. Armand, per Anthony DeComo, Mets stars to pitch into the 8th inning of a game this season. David Peterson, 5 times. Everyone else, 0. Yes, it's a lost art to pitch as deep into games as starters used to when we were all growing up watching this game. But it's even more so with this Mets starting rotation that is just so fragile, between Senga and Holmes converting from a reliever, and obviously the other guys that have not really panned out. But really cool to see from David Peterson. Bulldogs his way, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, is able to pitch to contact. I mean, how many ground balls did he get today, including probably the most important, the second double play that he induced there in the 8th inning after the leadoff triple from Cruz, or whatever his name is, I don't even remember. But first and third, able to get the double play there. It scores the lone run against him in the ledger, but great pitching there from Peterson to avoid the big inning, the blow-up inning, and have to dip into the bullpen earlier than Mendoza wanted to. Really solid performance from David Peterson. Ray, Albie Jazz hands, he's got to learn to start sliding with his feet first, because this is becoming too common of a thing for him. And obviously we know the first 2 times that Alvarez injured himself on the hand, it was when he was catching. And one time I believe he also was hit by a pitch while at the plate. But you got to protect these hands, Alvarez. You cannot be sliding head first, bro. You've got to stop injuring your hands. This is killing us, especially when he just started hitting so well, and to the ability that we know that Francisco Alvarez is capable of. So, hey, fingers crossed that this is not going to require that season-ending surgery, that he can play through it and maybe gets the surgery in the offseason. But I honestly don't think the Mets are going to push that. I'm sure Alvarez would like to try to do it, but I think they're still going to prioritize what is best for him long term, which probably means getting the surgery now and not risking it getting even worse, or him reverting back to his performance before his minor league stint this year. But Ray says, Stanek finally earning some of that welfare money. Stanek, man, he has been reduced to basically mop-up duty, so hopefully he can fit this role that we need. And every now and again, maybe he'll get a leverage spot in the 6th inning, 7th inning. And that's a perfect kind of runway for Stanek, especially with what we believe is a really strong bullpen now with the additions at the deadline, but hasn't exactly been the case for Stanek. It has definitely not been a really good year for him out of the Mets bullpen, but nice to see him earn some of that welfare money, as Ray says. Armand says Blackburn's been released. Exactly. Paul Blackburn was DFA'd by the team, so he has been released. Don't believe he was picked up on waiver, so I don't know when the timeline for that is, if he could potentially be assigned to AAA or not. Regardless, I think his time with the Mets is done here, and that is why I'm speculating that it could be Brandon Sproat to get that spot start that they're going to need at some point over these next 16 days. But again, we've also heard from David Stearns, doesn't want to put one of these young guys in for a spot start if they are not going to stick in the rotation and mess with their regimen and all their routines. So that may be something working against Sproat. And maybe it is, in fact, Frankie Montas taking a turn out of the rotation instead of pitching in the bullpen for that particular day. Earl D says, it's a good victory tonight. We all deserve that one. This lineup showed out tonight along with the ace of the staff. I really wish Alvarez was a part of the party. Man, it stinks. It stinks that Alvy is out. So bad, guys. I am so frustrated by it. I mean, again, guy was just hitting like crazy, over 300 since returning from the big leagues or from the minors. And it's really frustrating, man, especially because you could just see it, dude. This guy is a gamer. He loves to play. He loves to win. You saw it after the Mets lost that game to the Mariners where he hit a 3-run homer on Friday. At the end of that game, just kind of hanging his head down on the dugout railing. Like, I believe this guy really truly wants to be good and really truly wants to be on a winning team. And it just stinks to see his career continuously get derailed and sidetracked because of these injuries. So I'm totally with you, but we did deserve that one for sure, Earl. Nice to just kind of have a rocking chair kind of game where we were not on the edge of our seats the entire time, worried about the next shoe dropping, which has been so much the case over the last couple of months for these guys. And at the end, it's 3 wins in a row, and we saw that the Mariners doing a little bit of bidding for the Mets as they were able to tie the game at 4 apiece against the Phillies. Unfortunately, the Phillies have reclaimed the lead. It is now 6-4 in the 9th inning, so it does not look good for the Mets to gain ground on Philadelphia in the NL East standings, unfortunately. Very close, but not good enough. Meanwhile, Cincinnati is playing out in Los Angeles against the Angels. That one is just getting underway, so of course we want to monitor that and see where the Mets stand in terms of the NL wildcard standings. But look, you got to win games, man. The Mets just got to win games, and really nice to see that they've actually been doing that lately. It's like the quote from Major League. You won 1 in a row. If you win 1 tomorrow, that's 2, and then if you win another, that's 3 in a row. That's called a winning streak. Hey, the Mets actually getting a winning streak. I mean, crazy to think the way things have been going, but the Mets couldn't win 2 games in a row for it seemed like an entire month, most of the beginning of August and toward the end of July there. So nice to see that the Mets are just doing what they can control, what is in their own power, and that is getting back to playing a better brand of baseball than what we were seeing there for a while. But let's go back to the chat. Absolutely, yep, you're on top of it. Let's go Angels. Ray says, I would send down Garrett to move up Sproat. I don't think they will send Garrett down, and I also don't think he has options. So I don't think Reed Garrett could be sent down, and he's been pitching pretty well for the most part lately. I mean, not bad by any means. So I don't think that is on the table. It's not a terrible idea, but I think that they're going to probably end up keeping who they got on the roster and then maybe option one of the position players for a day. Beatty's obviously a potential guy for that, or we'll see who else might be in the bullpen that's not sticking around at that point. But we're pretty solid and set right now in terms of the roster. There's not a lot of flexibility, so it'll be really interesting to see what the Mets end up doing. And hey, look, they might end up going with the bullpen game. It probably makes the most sense to have Montas start the game, pitch 4 to 5 innings as much as he can, absorb as much as he can, and then see where they go from there. Let's see. Absol says Juan Solo strikes again. Yes, Juan Solo strikes again. But hey, it's his 31st home run of the season. Look, I made that video about a week ago saying that it's been an underwhelming, very disappointing season for Juan Soto in his first year here with the Mets. And I do stand by that in terms of his OPS with runners on base and runners in scoring position. I mean, it is stark difference from his career where he is normally a guy with a 950 OPS with runners on base. This year, it's in the 640s. And that's kind of a big deal. I'm sorry. So I stand by that video that I made. But at the end of the day, yeah, the numbers are going to be there. He's got 31 home runs. He's got like 78, 79 RBIs now. Don't get me wrong. Not disappointed we have Juan Soto. I love him. Love that he's on this team. changes this lineup for sure, but I need to see a little more in terms of the high leverage spots, the big moments that we just hadn't gotten from him so much so far this first season here with the New York Mets. But 31 home runs, not going to complain about it, and has been looking much better lately at the plate for sure. Let's see, Ray. Even McNeil got in on the action. Let's go. McNeil hitting a homer. I mean, dude, I said it before the year, and hey, guys, I will never be afraid to admit when I am wrong, but I did not think that Jeff McNeil had a place on this roster. I did not think that he could contribute to this team anymore. I didn't think he was going to be that guy that could hit anymore. The days of him being that batting title champion from 2022 are far in the past, but he's kind of transformed himself. He's become more of a pull hitter. He's become more of a power hitter. His OPS has been in the high 700s and to the mid to low 800s so far this year. Jeff McNeil has been great for this team. I am really, really impressed with what he did, and I eat my crow 100% and say that I was wrong about Jeff McNeil. But yes, even Jeff getting in on the action tonight. Armand says, per MYM stats, Brett Baty last 7 games, 375 average, 9 hits in his last 24 at-bats. He's got a 423 OBP, and he's got 3 homers with 5 RBIs and a stolen base. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't read that properly, but an 1100 OPS. And hey, look, I will give Baty the credit. He's been playing well over his last 7 games. Yes, that is true, but my problem here, and I still stand by this, just like I stand by my Soto take, just like I eat crow on the McNeil take, is that we've seen this from Brett Baty before. We've seen the week-long stretch. We've seen the 14-game stretch where he goes off and he's playing tremendous for a long time, and he's looking like that starting caliber third baseman, and then we've seen him go into the tank, and then we've seen him go for 21 games where he's hitting 220 or he's hitting 180. So I am happy to see Baty doing this right now, but I have been fooled too many times by this guy to just all of a sudden be like, yes, he is here, he has arrived, he needs to play every day. I need to continue to see it from Baty, and until I do, I am not going to be fooled again. But very impressive numbers right there. Thank you for bringing that up there, Armand. Let's see, Ray, a garbage truck will not pick up Blackburn. Oh my God, that's so good. Yeah, I don't know if they'd be able to fit him. I don't know if they'd be able to haul Blackburn away. He's got a lot of baggage. It's crazy, man. I mean, Mets traded basically nothing for Paul Blackburn last year, and really it was kind of just a little move to kind of appease the fans and I think the clubhouse last year, even though David Stearns probably didn't really truly believe in the 2024 team. And he really did nothing for this team. He made a couple starts. One of them was okay, the other one not so great, and then he ended up getting injured, didn't pitch last year in the playoffs or down the stretch, and then this year obviously started the season on the injured list, and when he did finally return outside of his debut against the Dodgers where he gave them 5 scoreless, who would have guessed, he ended up being horrific again and got injured again. So Paul Blackburn, hardly knew ye, was a Met for a short time, and when he was here was pretty brutal. So yeah, not the greatest New York Met of all time, that is for sure. He will not be going down with the Seavers and Gentrys and DeGroms and so on and so forth in the illustrious pitching career of the New York Mets, unfortunately. But let's see, Ray, Mullins looks like that bat boy. What bat boy? I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah, the Mariners really not helping us out there, Ray. They tied it. Eugenio Suarez had a 2-run homer in the 8th or something to tie that game, and then the Phillies able to get back and score 2 more there in the top of the 9th. And so, yeah, they are winning 6-4, unfortunately. Thank you so much to Seattle. Frauds. They are frauds, I'm telling you. Armand says, Reed Garrett does have options for this season per Google. Okay, good. So Reed Garrett has options. I don't see him being the odd man out of this group. I mean, honestly, the more I am now thinking about it as this stream has gone on, unfortunately, it's probably going to end up being Frankie Montas getting a start out of the bullpen, see what they can get from him, and hopefully just basically cross your fingers and close your eyes, because this is going to be another rough start if that is the case from Frankie Montas. But from a roster management standpoint, that is what probably makes the most sense, as much as we don't want to hear it, as much as we don't want to be giving games away at this point in the season. Every single one matters so much with us trying to maintain our lead in the National League wildcard and maintain pace with the Phillies. But I have a feeling now that I am giving it a little more thought that it probably will be Frankie Montas to make that start whenever that day does come here during this 16 games in 16-day stretch. But guys, sound off the chat. How you feeling about this team? I asked you guys last week when the Mets were tripping all over themselves against the Braves, Do you think this team is going to make the playoffs still in 2025? I said no, and I'm going to be honest, I'm still kind of feeling that way. I am not moved by 3 wins in a row. I am happy to see it, but I am not moved because I have got to see some consistency out of this team that honestly I just haven't seen from them in nearly 3 months, in nearly 60% of the season. So basically 3/4. Okay, what am I, a mathematician here? Come on, get off my back. But I do need to see more from this team than just 3 wins in a row, than just one game where they were playing in the Little League Classic with all the distractions that come with that against Seattle. And then tonight against the Nationals that just look like they are totally dead. So I'm happy about it. We'll never give the win back, but I need to see more out of this team before I am ready to say, hey, this is it. They're back. They're going to the World Series, or they're going to make the playoffs. No doubt about it. It's just too tight of a race between the NL East and between the NL wild card for me to just officially say they're back. But Ray says, agreed, Tony. We want Beatty to do more than the sporadic sample sizes. And I mean, look, and I'm not disparaging anybody that is trying to, back Beatty or anything like that. I am just saying, people will jump through hoops to try and show me that Brett Beatty is a good player. And I'm not saying he is the worst baseball player I've ever seen. That title probably belongs to Jared Young or Ty Kelly. But I need to see more consistently from Beatty before, again, I'm just willing to hand the reins to him and say this dude has arrived. So glad you're with me there, Ray. Armand, Phillies win 6-4. Great. Boo. That's not great news, obviously. And the Phillies won yesterday on the Mets off day, so they should be, I think about 6.5 games up on the Mets right now in the NL East. Hey, crazier things have happened. Just ask the Mets in 2007, 7.5 with 17 to play. So, look, it's not officially over. Obviously, the Mets have these 2 games next with the Nationals, then 3 with Atlanta, which I am dreading. And then they have the Phillies at home for 3 beginning next Monday. So they got those 3, and then they got 4 more in September at Citizens Bank Park on the road against Philadelphia. So, look, it's not over. If the Mets take care of business versus the Phillies and they can pick up a few games along the way, there is still a chance this team can win the National League East, but it is definitely an uphill battle at this point. I just want to see the Mets win games, take care of their own business, and at the very least, get one of those NL wildcard spots, and we go from there. We saw what happened last year when the Mets took the NL wildcard, the final spot. They went to Game 6 of the NLCS, just 1 win away, 2 wins away from going to the World Series. So just get into the dance, and anything could happen at that point. Let's see. Ray says, Armand did read he had options. Oh, about Reed Garrett. Yes, exactly. Armand says, I agree, Tony. I don't think the Mets make the playoffs. They need to continue the good play and win games. I mean, hey, this is a good start. It's nice to see them win 3 in a row, to pick themselves off the mat finally for once this season. But I said it, and I posted it on TikTok today. I don't know if it got onto YouTube today, but I said the Mets need to do what they're supposed to do, and that is take care of business against the last place Nationals team. There are no excuses. There is no moral 2 out of 3 series victory against the Nationals. They have not afforded themselves that kind of leeway. The Mets have to sweep the Nationals here. This is a team that is ripe for the picking. They are in total disarray. They fired their manager of 6-7 years earlier this season. They fired their general manager at the same time. This team is a rudderless ship, and there is no reason why the Mets, who should be a top division team, should not sweep the Nationals in this series, especially when you consider that they then have 3 with Atlanta, who, hey, who cares if they're in 4th place, because they play the Mets like they're a first place team every single time. We know that. We can't beat the Braves. We just can't do it, especially not in Atlanta. So prepare yourselves for the worst over the weekend against the Braves, right? And then you got the Phillies 4-3. And yeah, it's great that it's at home, but the Mets can help themselves out so much by taking care of business this week against the Nationals and sweeping them out of their own building. And that is what I want to see from them. Again, 2 out of 3 does not do it for me. The Mets did not afford themselves that type of levity. They have to take care of business and win these next 2 games. They got Sang on the mound for one of them, and I believe it's Clay Holmes for one of the other ones. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Holmes pitched on Sunday, so I guess it would be off the top of my head right now. I can't think of it, but I know Sang is pitching in one of these next 2 games as well. Go sweep this series from Washington. Ray says, Mets can only help themselves, so keep the winning rolling. My point exactly, Ray. Well said, 100%. Armand says Phillies are 5.5 up on the Mets. I just checked the standings. Okay, appreciate you, Armand. I don't know if that is updated with that win that just went final for Philadelphia, though, so it might go to 6 games. Could be wrong about that. It might have been updated already, and it is 5.5, but good to know. Thank you. Absol says, we got 3 against Philly next week. Mets need to make a statement. We will have an idea next week. And look, guys, we played the Phillies at home back in that must have been April, right? The first month of the season. And the Mets absolutely dominated the Phillies. We embarrassed them. We swept them all 3 games. And the only other time that the Mets have seen the Phillies since then was in that 3-game set at Philadelphia, where the Mets were in the midst of that horrific stretch when they got swept by the Rays and they got swept by Atlanta, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. But I'm sorry, I don't see the Phillies as being able to punk us the way that the Braves can. I just don't see that team that same way that I see Atlanta. I just don't think that they are that much more talented than us. I just don't think there is a mental block. The Mets obviously took care of business against them last year in the NLDS, and they did it a lot in the regular season last year and over the last several years. So I am not afraid of the Phillies. The Mets need to make that statement. I'm 100% with you. At the very least, win 2 out of 3 next week at Citi Field. You get a sweep, and damn, the NL East fight is back on. But you obviously cannot get swept by them, or you could basically stick a fork in the Mets' chances for the National League East. And losing 2 out of 3 seriously hurts their ability to climb back into that division race. But hey, let's see what happens. We got to take care of business before that. Like I said, sweep the Nats here this week. I'd love to see the Mets win 2 out of 3 versus Atlanta. You would think that's not asking for a whole lot against a team in 4th place, but the Mets really just know how to shoot themselves in the foot when they play the Braves. It doesn't seem to matter the year, the ballpark, the uniforms, the managers, or the players. The Mets just cannot get over that hump with Atlanta. So again, I'm preparing myself for the worst against the Braves this weekend, but we shall see. We shall see. They are playing a little bit better lately, which is good to see. Let's see. Ray says, and today was a good offensive outing. They were relaxed and confident, and we have not seen that in ages. I mean, guys, it has felt like forever since the Mets came out, had a 5-run inning. I mean, 4 of those runs coming with 2 outs. So you get the RBI double from Brandon Nimmo. You're set up 2nd and 3rd. Unfortunately, Pete Alonso, not the greatest of at-bats, pops up to the first baseman. And I'm thinking, man, this is a golden opportunity that they might bypass here. There's 2 outs, but hey, Jeff McNeil coming through, lacing a double down the right field line to make it 3-0, but not done yet because Mark Vientos just hits an absolute nuke to left field for his 9th home run of the season. That made it 5-0, and it definitely felt like a breath of fresh air. It definitely felt like, hey, we were not getting many of those types of innings over the last 2 months. We were not coming through in those big spots. We were leaving a small village on base so often, and it would always come back to bite us in the ass. But they were able to come through in that inning, make it 5-0. And you know what I loved even more maybe than that 5-run 3rd inning from this team is that they didn't take their foot off the pedal after that. They continued to score. And I know there weren't a bunch more rallies and, hitting guys around and, chasing them home, but you got the solo homer from Beatty, you got the solo shot from Soto, and then I guess it would have been the top of the 9th, right? Jeff McNeil hitting the home run after the Nats put their first run up on the board. So it was just nice to see them continue to tack on, which is just not something that this team has done very much at all this season. So an all-around really positive performance from the Mets offense. And that goes without even talking about the guy that was on the mound tonight. Peterson, again, going past the 7th inning, gives us 8 innings of 1-run ball. And I think it was Armand that said it. Only one other pitcher in the Mets rotation this year that has gone past 6 innings or something like that, past 7 innings, and it's basically been David Peterson the entire way. So really, really cool to see everybody kind of chipping in this one for sure. Trying to catch up and see where we were in the comments here in the chat. Elvin Solana, we got Jonah Barney. It's Manaya pitching. Okay, so Manaya and Senga. Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't have my 2 monitors here like I normally do on my typical setup, so I'm a little short on information, if you will. So appreciate that. So we will have Manaya and we will have Senga to round out this series. Go sweep the Nationals. That is that. Okay. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No gray area. You got to go take care of business here. Alvin Solano, put some respect on Brett the Hitman Beatty's name. He is not going anywhere. Get used to it. Hey, if he keeps hitting like this, I don't want him to go anywhere. I just can't see him go into this now 21 game slump that he typically goes into after a nice little week stretch where he's going to hit 190 and strike out a million times. If that's the case, well, then again, we're going to be proven right. The Beatty doubters, which I am definitely a Beatty doubter. So let's see what happens from here. Again, we've seen this before. Hopefully he can finally prove me wrong, but I am not going to hold my breath just yet, Elvin. I know Elvin is a huge Beatty guy, as he calls him. Brett the Hitman Beatty. Elvin's always been in Brett Beatty's corner. I respect it, man. I do. I really do. Armand says, Senga tomorrow and Manaya Wednesday. Yes, there we go. Thank you very much. Ray, if they can gain 2 games prior to playing the Phils, that can be some momentum for the division. Exactly, 100%. And like I said, 7 head-to-head matchups still with the Phillies here, 3 at Citi Field, 4 at Citizens Bank Park. If the Mets can just pick up a few games along the way in between those 2 series, and then obviously the biggest task is taking care of business in those games against Philadelphia, there's a chance they can win this division still, 100%. But they have got to be on their game, not only against Philadelphia, but they have got to pick up some ground on them along the way. And unfortunately, Philly not playing the greatest baseball, but playing well enough right now to maintain a pretty healthy lead over us for the National League East. But very, very good point there from you, Ray. Alvin says, Mark Vientos is looking like Swaggy V again. LGM, nice to see him. Dude, that was just torched. That looked like the home run that Pete Alonso hit at Nats Park when he was in the Futures game back in like 2016, 17, whatever year that was, 18. Really, really impressive blast there from Mark Vientos. He has looked much better. It's just a damn shame, man, again, that, the bad news today with it being Francisco Alvarez out now. I mean, again, like Ray said, would have loved to have seen Alvarez a part of this party here tonight. Danny Gaps, my man, he says, did y'all see who the third base coach was today? Oh, I saw. It was Eric Chavez, guys, everybody's favorite. I don't know why. I don't know if they said it in the broadcast or if anybody in the media reported why and mentioned it on Twitter, but I don't know why he was out there coaching third base today. I don't know if Sarbaugh was out on some type of leave or something like that or feeling ill, but definitely kind of weird. That would be, oh my God, wow. Could you imagine Eric Chavez sending a runner home or not sending a runner home and it costing the Mets a game? Oh, the Mets fans would lose their minds even more than we already have on Eric Chavez. But yeah, still no explanation really for why that was the case, at least not that I saw. But yeah, pretty good pickup there by you, Danny Gaps. Let's see. 2 days in a row in the BP got rest. That's right. Yep. That's really nice to see the bullpen getting some much needed rest too. Obviously the off day yesterday as well. Let's see. E. Morrow says Mets are now 3 in a row. Let's go Mets. Keep it going. Gotta believe. Hey guys, at the end of this, man, I want it to be 5 in a row. I want to have come off that final 2 wins against the Mariners in that series over the weekend and sweep this Nationals team, make it 5 in a row rolling into Atlanta. Again, I don't have great feelings about going to Atlanta. We just can't seem to find a way to beat the Braves, but hopefully they can just have a really strong week here. I mean, guys, I said it earlier on my previous streams that it was still early enough that the Mets could turn it around, but it had to happen fast. And maybe this is finally the turnaround they needed by beating a good Seattle team in the final 2 games of that series. And then to come out today, win this game, but you got to continue it now. But, you don't want to peak too early either. And I look at a team like the Brewers, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about the Brewers. They still are the best team in baseball. Yes, I admit that, but maybe peaking a little too early. I'm just saying. Maybe peaking a little bit too early. And maybe the Mets had their slump, got it out of the way, and maybe now they're about to surge here for the final month of the season. And that's exactly what you want when you're heading into the playoffs, to be the team that is playing hot when the postseason starts. So we shall see. But yes, let's keep it going to E.E. Morrow. Let's see. Ray, I want a job security like Chavez. Chavez must have compromising photos of somebody in the Mets front office, because how this guy still has a job is just unbelievable. I don't get it. They're like unbelievable job security, Ray. 100%. I would love to get that. I'm with you, bro. Let's see. Danny Caps. Peterson versus Washington this year. 17 innings pitched, 10 hits, 16 strikeouts, just 1 walk and 1 earned run. Domination in all caps from the Danny Caps. Yes. And so that was a streak of what, 16, 17 innings of consecutive scoreless ball for David Peterson against the Nationals, and it was finally snapped there on what turned out to be a 5-4-3 double play anyway for the first 2 outs of the 8th inning. So David Peterson has been excellent. Got so many ground balls today, as we know he does with that sinker. So really, really great stuff there from DP. Let's see. Armand says, Mike Puma said Sarbaugh had an illness and is at the hotel. Okay, so Mike Sarbaugh was sick. Armand is like, if I could just say this, Armand has got all of this Mets information, stats, and anything going on with the Mets. Armand, you are always on top of it, my man, and you have no idea how much I appreciate you for that, because I'm trying to do the stream, and sometimes I can multitask, but also sometimes I just can't, and I'm trying to get all this stuff ready, and Armand is always on top of it, dropping straight knowledge on us. Give it up for our boy over here, Armand. Great work, my man. Appreciate you. So that is why Eric Chavez was coaching third base today. Interesting. So hopefully best to Mike Sarbaugh, and that he's all right and able to get back in there, because I don't want to see Eric Chavez out of the dugout. I don't want to see him in the dugout either, but I don't want to see him out of the dugout either, especially where he could actually impact the game with his rounding or not rounding a player from third base to home. Let's see. Ray says, I want 13 straight like that Brewer swag. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? That would be pretty nice, because that would then give us the sweep here, the sweep over the Nats, and a sweep over the Phillies, plus 2 more. Yeah, that would do. I'll take that. It depends, again, how you follow all that up. But man, if the Mets won 13 straight, I'd feel pretty comfortable, including 3 in a row over Philly. I feel pretty comfortable saying the Mets would probably be back in sole possession of first place in the National League East, but could be wrong. I have been before. Let's see. Ray says, Caps, he's talking to people down. He likes talking people down, but ton of respect to what we have to say. Why am I here? Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Wait, who's talking people down? Who are we talking about? Tony, say hello to Mrs. Metro. You guys are the cool Mr. and Mrs. Met. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I will for sure. Yeah, we are not here right now together. I'm on a little vacation seeing some family. So, again, that's why the studio is this way. And I apologize that I don't think the mic's probably the best right now. I'm going to work on that, and hopefully it'll be better by tomorrow. But let me know, by the way, guys. Can you just tell me in this chat here, how does the mic sound? Is it pretty poor quality? Because if so, I'm going to try to make some corrections before going into tomorrow's stream. But appreciate you, Ray. Thank you very much. I will definitely say hello. Armand, thanks, Tony. I have Twitter, not noties on. Oh, there you go. So you got it all going for you, man. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much, Armand. Joe says, do you think the Mets will bring up Sprout? I mean, yeah, we talked about it earlier. It seems plausible, but again, the thing that gives me pause is that Stearns has said he does not want to bring up these guys for a spot start. And if he was saying that in August, then I don't see why that would change here toward the end of the month. He was really saying that in July. So I don't see why now, even later in the season, he would want to do that and disrupt his flow and regimen down in AAA, especially where he's probably coming up on an innings limit soon and may not really go deep into any type of postseason pitching if AAA qualifies for it. So I do it, but I don't know if David Stearns is going to do it. And that is why the more I thought about it, it does kind of feel more like Frankie Montas is going to get that start that they're going to need here during this 16-game stretch, or 16 games and 16-day stretch. So we shall see. Ray says, you sound good, Tony. Okay, thank you, Ray. I appreciate it. I think it's just coming off my phone, honestly. I thought these beats were going to work, but I don't think they actually did. But either way, thank you very much for letting me know. Danny Caps, that's why I subbed to Tony's channel, and I'm subscribed to that dude Rob channel. I don't know who that is, but appreciate you anyway, Danny Caps, man. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, I try to keep it, 100 with you guys. Try to keep everybody involved here. I wish I could do the Discord calls tonight. We had some really good calls last week. Red Bear Fox called in. We had Mets fan 212 Wade call in. We had a couple other guys, and they were all great calls. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. But guys, yeah, really nice win for the Mets here today. And I'm going to keep this one short here. I'm glad that this is working out pretty well here, even though I'm in a different studio today, and it will be for the rest of this week. But this was a good little test run here, and I'm really glad you guys all tuned in. So let's preview tomorrow's game where the Mets are going to look to make it 4 in a row. Oh my gosh, I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. 4 in a row for the Mets? No, that can't be right. There's no way. Come on. Okay. That is the case. When you win 3 in a row, if you win the next day as well, that would make it 4. And they will try to do that with Kodai Senga on the mound for the Mets. So Senga coming out, 2.35 ERA over with a 7-4 record so far this season over 19 starts. Last time out for Senga was, if I recall, against the Braves, where he ended up going 5 2/3, gave up 2 earned runs, and I guess that would have been in the victory again. Was that the lone win? No, that would have been the game 3 where the Mets only scored 2 runs, and then it was blown in the 8th inning by Ryan Helsley. So hopefully that will not be a repeat case tomorrow, but you never know. But the Mets will be taking on, I think it's Mitch Lord. I could be wrong. Brad Lord is a right-hander for the Nationals, having a really solid season so far for them as a rookie. Has a, 3.26 ERA over 11 starts, and I believe he actually made a start against the Mets. Let's see. His last time out, though, let's see. No, he's had more than 11 starts, or was he pitching in relief at one point in this season? I think he was pitching in relief at one point. Okay. He did make a start against the Mets, though. Gave up 2 earned runs in 4 innings. That was back in April. And I believe he had another one on June 10th. It was not actually a start. It was a relief appearance. Pitched a scoreless inning of relief in June against the Mets. Last time out against the Phillies, he gave 2 earned runs over 6 innings pitched, and the time before that against San Francisco, just 1 earned run over 6 innings pitched. So he has been pitching pretty solid lately. Again, hey, we're going to need Senga to give us a quality start, hopefully like David Peterson did today, and hopefully the Mets offense comes out and continues to do what it's been doing, getting contributions from everybody, not just all home runs, but hey, getting a couple of those doesn't hurt either, and the Mets can pound on the Nationals like they should. Like I said, this is not a negotiable thing. The Mets should sweep a last place team in the Nationals. If they want to be atop of the National League East at the end of the season, these are the kinds of series that you have to sweep, that you have to rip out of their hands like taking candy from a baby. And I hope that is what the Mets are going to do here. A very, very good start to that plan, though, with the win tonight. So, guys, appreciate y'all tuning in. Be sure to leave this video a like. In fact, if you haven't done that already, go ahead and do that right now. I really appreciate it, guys. It goes a long way toward helping out the channel here. Let me just go back and double check here. We got a couple more coming in. Armand says Sproat will be a September call-up when roster expands to 28. Yeah, I could see that happening because kind of when the AAA season will be winding down anyway. So that would definitely make sense, Armand. Let's see. Jimmy James C says your mic sounds fine. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me know. Then I guess I don't have to make any changes for the rest of this week. So hey, this is the setup for the week. I know it's not as cool and fun as it normally is, but appreciate you guys. Let's see, Ray, it was a good show. Tony, like always, wish I could be here more often, but you have my support, Ray. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you tuning in all the time. Appreciate all you guys tuning in, but thank you so much. Ray says need to score some early, tack on throughout. Tacking on are the operative words. Exactly, something they don't typically do well, or at least have not this year, but they did an excellent job of tonight. So really nice win. Let me go through real quick. Thank you to Ray. Thank you to Armand. Thank you to Jimmy James C. Thank you to Earl D. Thank you to Absol. Thank you to, let's see who else we got in here. Jonah Barney. Thank you to Elvin Solano. Thank you to Danny Caps, my guy. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you to, I think that might be Joe. I missed you. I almost missed you, Joe. But thank you to Joe. And I mean, guys, you're just holding down the fort here. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, for leaving chats, for coming up with some stats and things that maybe I can't get to. So thank you very much. We are going to be back with another post-game recap after tomorrow night's game. Senga taking on Lord. Mets looking to make it 4 in a row. That's going to do it for right now, though, guys. Appreciate it. Until next time, though, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.